Welcome back
to the podcast.
To the podcast.
To the podcast.
It's podcast time, guys. We still haven't quite figured out our intro yet, so we're figuring it out.
We got the song done and the actual intro video done, so we do have some pieces done.
We're just not sure how we want to welcome you guys back into the space because it's a little bit different of a space than YouTube. It's a little more intimate.
November 2023 podcast. Welcome.
Welcome. Today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the holidays. We're going to be talking about Thanksgiving. We're going to be talking about some of our traditions and, those kinds of things, what our favorite things to do and like what the perfect holiday would be. And then we're going to talk about some drama that we've been dealing with the YouTube channel and Google. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to get a little awkward. For sure.
Well, that's the point of the channel, but we're also going to talk about a little bit about our trips to Charleston because we've been in Charleston so much in South Carolina, so we'll be touching on that too a little bit.
So we got a lot to talk about, and we're going to talk about what we've been up to since the last time we talked.
Yeah, so what you been up to?
Today was amazing. We actually went out today and did some stuff. October was a really fun month because October is Gary's birthday, our anniversary, and my birthday. And obviously Halloween happens in October and Hallmark releases the rest of their ornaments in October. So there's a lot of things that happen in October for us that we just get really excited about. So hopefully you guys are going to enjoy some of that content that's coming out on the YouTube channel. We're just messing with some background noise right now, so
no, it's applause for us because it's our anniversary and birthdays. Yeah, that's what it was.
Cheers to another year.
I forgot to turn it on to my headphones, so I didn't hear it.
I heard it the second it came on. I was like, oh, there she is. I wasn't sure if I should talk over it or if I just let it go.
Keep talking.
So we've been really busy and we tried to take some moments for ourselves and enjoy the moment. So like our anniversary dinner, we did take you guys along for the ride that day because it was a crazy day, but we also tried to take some time to enjoy the moment and be there for each other because I think that's important, especially when we live a lot of our life on camera, and sometimes it's important to like savor the moment. So we had a roller coaster of a ride that night. When you live on both coasts, like we are right now, we go through two different time zones. We live in Eastern time zone and we live in Pacific time zone. And that is a 3-hour difference. And in my phone, our reservation that I made months ago, it saves it in your calendar and it updates to the time zone that you're in. And my mistake was that I looked back at it, made the car reservation, but it was still kind of like in Eastern time zone. Even though I was in Vegas. I saw the 8:00 time, made the pickup for 7. I'm like, we'll go to the restaurant. We'll be there. Everything will be great. Day of, my phone like alerts me at 4:20, somewhere like that. And was like, hey, traffic is light. You might want to start heading to the restaurant. And I was like, whoops.
Well, yeah, you're so bad at telling stories. So you skipped ahead of a lot of stuff. First, we had a meal. We had planned it at Golden Steer. We had reservations 6 months out. You literally went and reserved them right as they opened up. Yeah. Like that's how the whole thing started. And the problem is that she was in South Carolina when she booked the reservation. So the calendar took it as East Coast time, right? But you wouldn't know that because every time you looked at it, it said the thing, but it doesn't really say whether East Coast or West Coast time, even though it was showing you East Coast time. And so it just gave this whole like convoluted, crazy, because she reserved it in West Coast time, right? But it pulled it up in East Coast time because she was in East Coast.
Yep.
So then when she went back to the West Coast, it was 3 hours
ahead.
Well, I guess behind, because it would have thought that the reservation was at 9 and it was really at 6, or it was at
8.
5.
Yeah,
8.
it said it was at 8, but really the reservation was at 5.
It's
and
very confusing.
I kind of thought back to myself. I was like, I know we booked this as an early reservation because I was almost pretty confident we wanted to get there so that we would have a mostly empty restaurant so that we could show you guys a little better of what it is without other people feeling awkward that they might get on camera.
And a little bit of background for us, when we try to do the fancier restaurants, we definitely try to go earlier, and we go earlier because sometimes in the fancy restaurants, like if you watch our La Revolution in New Orleans, the people get a little bit ornery, even though it blurs out the background. Our camera doesn't pick up anybody in the background unless we want it to. You still get so much grief sometimes. So to avoid all of that, we just try to go early.
We try. Yeah, we try. So, I booked us a driver, and hashtag not sponsored, but there is a company that we use here in Las Vegas that has been really good to us. I would say 80% of the time. We've had a few mishaps with them, but they're basically a limo car service, but they're not nearly as expensive as some of the other limo car services that are in the Vegas area. And we've probably used them 10 or 15 times. If you guys watch our airport videos, when we get picked up at the airport, you can kind of see some of the cars that have picked us
Lost
up.
Girl Tomorrowland at youtube.com.
And so we wanted to have a nice night where they picked us up and we could drink, and we didn't have to have a driver. We didn't have to pay for an Uber. We just wanted like a little bit of a level up on that service. And unfortunately, I messed up the reservation time.
And we got a Tesla this time, which was fascinating because we did eventually use the car service.
I messed up the time for the reservation, so I had to call them and be like, I'm so sorry. And we live in the middle of nowhere, so like it would have taken them a long time to get to us anyway. So I was like, it's fine. Can I just move this reservation to like another time? Because I am going to be going out again because obviously birthdays. And they were like, yeah, not a problem. So we did end up taking it for my birthday dinner that night. But we drove. We were already ready to go. By the time I got the alert, we were ready to go. So we jumped in the car. We got to Golden Steer literally like 4:59, so a minute before the reservation. Checked in. They were like, oh, yeah, hi, happy anniversary.
And just so you know, Golden Steer doesn't open at 5. That's what time it actually opens. So we were literally, the moment it opened, that's when our reservation was.
And surprisingly, there were several people already in there seated. Which was interesting.
But they didn't answer the phone until 5.
Yeah, nobody answered the phone because I was trying to call them too, because I was like, oh, shish kebabs, like maybe I should like call them and be like, maybe we might be late, because you never know how traffic is down there. So we get there, like I said, they said happy anniversary. We start walking to our table, and they sat us at a table in the middle of the restaurant.
Well, they walked us past a ton of empty booths too. You're losing that point too. Like there was probably four couples? No, there's probably about 4 people in the restaurant. All of them were in booths.
Yeah.
And the entire middle of the restaurant is empty. And there was a side room where we actually had our meal. There were people at that big table, but that didn't really have any effect on us. That wouldn't be the table they would get anyways. Walks us past like a ton of booths.
Yeah. Ton of booths.
And that was just the ones that were close to us. There was totally in the other room. There were still more booths. And we're like, why are you sitting us in the middle of this room?
So we get to the table, and I was like, I'm sorry, can we please have a booth? Like, it's our anniversary. And the person that was seating us, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, those are reserved. And I was like, I'm sorry, this is my anniversary. I put that in the notes. They're like, oh, well, you would have had to ask for a booth in the notes. I'm like, I'm sorry. I thought me telling you that this was my anniversary.
The place was empty too.
Was enough for me to get sat at a nice intimate table. Because again, keep in mind, it's 5 p.m. on a
Tuesday.
Was it a Tuesday or Sunday? I think it was one of those two.
Oh, you're right. It was a Sunday.
Yeah, I think it was a Sunday. So not usually peak times usually people are heading back home on Sunday.
Right.
Sunday's not usually the busiest night to go out to eat in Vegas. So he's like, well, let me go check. So he leaves us for a minute. And of course I'm slightly hopeful that maybe they're going to make this right. He comes back and he's like, no, I'm sorry, ma'am. Those booths are reserved, for people who reserve those booths. And I was like, okay, well, I think this is a little ridiculous. I made this reservation 6 months ago. I said it was my anniversary, and I think it's a little ridiculous that you're going to sit me at this table.
And there's nothing on the website for reserving booths either.
It doesn't say like if you want a booth. Viewer,
just so when you go to the website, you basically just put the reservation. It just asks, is there anything special? And that's all you put, is that it's an anniversary. It's like special, is it your birthday or anniversary? And that's all they ask you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't ask you for a booth. So he's just basically lying to us at this point.
So I was like, but there's several empty booths here. I'm not really sure what's going on. And he's like, well, you can wait for a booth. Wait. Okay. And I looked at this man and I was just like, I'm sorry, wait for who? Literally, those words came out of my mouth because I didn't understand it. It didn't make any sense to me. Who am I waiting for if nobody is here?
Yep. And there was no one in the parking lot. We were there after this. No one came in after us for at least a good 10, 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
There was no one who even entered the restaurant. So who would we have been waiting for? How long we would have to wait?
Yeah, that's what I did. That's what was not clear to me, was like, how long was I going to have to wait? Where was I going to go? Was I going to go to the bar? Are you going to give me free drinks? Like, how are you going to make this better?
Yeah.
And so finally I just could feel a wall, and like nothing else was going to change. So I was like, well, whatever, we'll just sit down and eat. And Gary's like, no. He's like, no, this isn't worth it. He's like, they don't care about us now. They're not going to care about us later.
Yeah, my thing was, like, if you go to a restaurant and they're already treating you like dirt before you even sit down, that's the best they're going to do, because that's their con to get you in. And I mean that in the most politest way to restaurants, because basically it's the show to get you in. Once you're in, you're stuck.
Yep.
Like, you got to eat there. So the show is going to be the best part of the whole thing. And the fact that they were just so disconnected. And also, I feel like he was looking for money.
Yeah.
He was looking for money. Because again, the restaurant was empty. We left and we sat in the parking lot trying to figure out what we were going to do next for a good,
I cried a little. I'm not going to lie. I cried a little because I was frustrated.
Yeah. But we sat in the parking lot for about 10 to 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Just figuring out, and we did find something out. And for you've hopefully seen the video because it'll be up before this podcast. We decided to go to the Bellagio, but we decided, like, where are we going to go? We want to go to someplace nice.
Maybe one table walked in.
No one walked in. I was watching. No one. There's a security guard out front. He was sitting in front of the door. He never moved after we left.
Yeah.
He literally never moved. I know, because I looked and I was like, this is ridiculous. I have no idea how long we would have had to wait. And like, where do you wait, by the way? If you've ever been to the Golden Steer, it has a bar.
How awkward is that going to be?
The Golden Steer has a bar, and then you walk in and basically it's a dining room. There's no place to wait. We'd have to wait outside in the Vegas heat, which isn't too bad because it's only in the 90s, but it's still a little warm.
Yeah.
We're dressed up to go to this place, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna do this. I've ate at too many fancy restaurants. I know how this works. If you wait them out, they'll treat you like dirt because they'll know you just take whatever they give you. So you'll probably get some nasty steak. You'll get whatever's left over. That's how it rolls.
They're not going to care. Like, the service isn't, they're not going to care. They're not going to, it's just, and I'm glad we did that. It definitely was the better decision for us to leave because we did have a better night. We did. We had a way better night, way better meal.
And then the sad part is that we did follow up with Golden Steer, and the only way to contact them is through their webpage. So I did a whole web contact, sent them a message. Not a thing. Response.
Crickets.
Nothing.
And it's been over a week now.
And it's just like, you guys are pitiful. I've even commented on a bunch of their posts. They're like, we're so great. It's like, dude, we went there. You guys treated us like dirt and we left. I would not recommend it. Golden Steer, honestly, used to be our go-to in Vegas. We'd be like, this is where you need to go. Like, every person, look at our videos. Every person that we said, we're like, this is the place.
Yep.
This is the better steakhouse that we've had so far. And we've had just about everyone. There's a couple we still haven't got to yet. But we've had almost every steak in Vegas, and they were definitely up there. Not anymore. Like,
I think service, like, you can have good food, but service definitely plays a key role into whether or not we want to recommend a restaurant.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I look at it like, if I'm recommending a restaurant to you guys, that's me personally putting my integrity on the line of like, I vouch for this.
Yeah.
And I take that seriously. And I know you do too. And I think it was definitely an experience that made us take a step back. And I don't know that in the future we're going to send people that way, because I don't think it's fair that you should be treated any differently because somebody's looking for a tip.
And one of the funny things too was, like, right before we went, it was about a week before we went, we got a message on our Golden Steer video. And he's like, hey, I went there. It was a horrible experience. He's like, it was just absolutely horrible. Horrible service. The food wasn't good. He's like, just so you know. And then I'm like, well, I'm like, thank you. This was like a year and a half ago. So it could have changed in that time, obviously. That's the thing about YouTube. We put the videos out and then things happen between there. But I didn't believe him, honestly. I mean, I didn't think he was lying, but I just was like, nah, it can't be that bad. And then we go there. And as soon as they did that, that clicked in my head. And I was like, yep, this is the experience we're going to have tonight if we stay here. And it was like, nope,
not worth paying the price point to be disappointed.
We'd at least pay $400 to $500 for
easily.
that meal. Yeah, just for the two of us, because we would have got drinks.
Yeah.
And I mean, we did at Lago. We spent probably about $600 that night between Lago and
we went and had
Baccarat.
drinks at the Bellagio before we ate, and then we had drinks and dinner, and
we went to the Baccarat Lounge at Bellagio, and then we hung out there for probably about an hour and a half. And then we went to Lago, and again, Lago is a hidden gem on the Strip, y'all.
Yeah, that is our. I think Lago is my new go-to, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been to everything yet, so I'd be hesitant to say it's my go-to, but it's really good. And if somebody asks for a recommendation, that's what I'm going to tell them.
Because you can definitely get a reservation day of.
Oh yeah,
it's one of those places that you don't think is going to be anything. It literally looks like a hole in the wall, but you get a spectacular view of the fountains.
Yeah, which, wow. If you're on the Strip and looking at the fountains, they're gone.
So they're gone.
This is literally the best place to see the fountains, in my opinion right now.
100% agree. Yep. And the service, honestly, our waiter that night was a little iffy.
He was short and foreign.
But
I mean, short by angry.
He still got our order perfect. Yeah. He listened to me because I know apparently an off the menu shoot. So you guys got to watch that video if you want to see like the hidden menu item that I get, and it is absolutely delicious and to die for, and you will not regret it as long as you like seafood. I know some people might have allergies or seafood might not be your alley, but delicious.
My one complaint with the restaurant was that the waiter didn't tell us, because it was both our anniversaries, my anniversary and both of our birthdays, that they were going to give us free desserts for each one of those.
Yeah, we weren't expecting that.
So we got
3 desserts.
We got 3 pieces of cheesecake. And it was like, if I had known that there was going to be other pieces of cheesecake, I would have ordered like the chocolate or not anything at all, honestly. Yeah. So I ate 2.5 pieces of cheesecake because Nathan's not eating much lately. And it was good. I mean, I love their cheesecake.
And their cheesecake's made with ricotta. So it's just,
it's a great cheesecake.
Their cheesecake is to die for. Lago is my new favorite place to go. And it's not super fancy. I mean, it's nice.
It's fancy. Yeah, it's fancy.
It's nice, but it's not like you have to go to all the nines. You can, and you'll fit in.
I would say that that's the one benefit of that restaurant. There's a good mix of people who are just sitting at the bar, which is a really nice bar if you want to go in there and have drinks, and you can still see the fountains. And then there's people who are really dressed up because they're literally in the best place to look at the fountains now. Yeah. So if you're going to the Bellagio and you want to see the fountains, Lago is the place to go.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Lago is absolutely the place to go. So you have those people totally dressed up. So I would say that there's a good mix in there. You can totally dress up because there are a ton of people who do that. But there's also people just in like coats and jackets or even like khakis and nice shirts and just sitting at the bar drinking.
Yeah. And so the other thing that was awesome. That was it. We had a better night. It ended up really good. And then
it was an amazing night. And we also got to see the Conservancy, which we had been wanting to go to.
The fall. I'm really in love with the fall overlay this year. I like it better than last year, but that's just me, personal preference. So
I would say I love the Conservancy. Every time has been spectacular. There's always little cool pieces to it. There's always little things to look at. I think it was really well done this time too. The tree was awesome. The whole like ornaments orchestra sort of setting on the one side with the instruments and stuff. Super cool. And again, a legit tip there. The best thing on the Strip that's free, in my opinion. Yeah. Since you can't see the fountains anymore, it is the best trip on the thing.
It really is. Honestly, like, it's definitely one of our favorite stops, and we just like to go in there like daytime, nighttime, and it definitely gives you a different feel. You have to, if you can, and you have the time, you should definitely check it out during the daytime because it's a totally different vibe. And then if you want, something nice and calm, like go back at night and it's just a completely different ambiance. And like last year was a bunch of giant pumpkins, which was really cool because we were like going around and seeing like which one's the biggest pumpkin and like how much do they weigh.
Gourds everywhere.
And this year was all about fairies, and it was very folky. It was very folky, like into the woods. A lot of folklore, literally. They had like a big book that was about like fairy tales, and then there were fairies and cottages and like mushrooms, and I don't know, I just really, really got into the fairy vibe. So I absolutely loved it. So
I loved it too. I mean, like again, the water vibe with the kois and stuff. You have all the like mushroom houses were really cool to look at too. I mean, overall, and the smells. And
yeah,
was,
the
like,
smells are
like
always divine.
Like
in
a
that
pumpkin
place.
cinnamony smell. It was good. And top that with the food. Now we wanted to do the eating inside the conservancy, and we might do that before we leave. And that's one thing that we'd like to try, but it just didn't have any openings. We would have done it, but
it requires some planning. And honestly, that night I was like, what if I check these reservations and they have an open table? Like, what if? Like, that would have just been the creme de la creme on the top, but they didn't. So maybe Christmas time or springtime. I'm not really sure. We still got another several months that we're still here in Vegas. So who knows what's going to happen. But if you guys want to really see that video, see that night, see all the emotions, definitely go check that out over on YouTube. And then fast forward, it was my birthday night, and we went to Benihana for the first time ever.
Well, I mean, we started the day seeing Taylor Swift and going to the Punk Rock Museum, and then we went to Benihana.
Yes, yeah. I just gotta say, I absolutely love the Taylor Swift video movie thing at AMC. I purposefully tried to find a showing that there wasn't going to be a lot of people in, because while I think it's really great that the Swifties are dancing and really getting into it, it's just not my vibe. I'm not going to get up and dance, and I wanted to be able to see the screen, and I wanted to be able to enjoy it the way I wanted to. So we purposely found a showing that was like literally had like maybe 6 people in it, and it was good. I had a lot of fun. And then we got in the car and I dealt with low blood sugar, which was so much fun. And we went to the Punk Rock Museum and explored that. And that was interesting. We learned some interesting things about that place. And
I mean, for a strip attraction, it's rather large, which is nice.
Yeah.
And it was a good museum. Yeah. I mean, it's not the most interesting museum. It's not the biggest museum, but it is a really good museum. And it definitely, if you're an old school, like late 70s, early 80s punk fan, you're going to love this museum, because that's the biggest focus. I mean, they had some 2000s after 2000 stuff that was really good, which is more when I got into punk. But the pre-stuff in the 70s, 80s, really well done there. Really well done.
And they have a bar. So you can literally go there and hang out. Yeah. And a tattoo shop. So you can literally just go there and hang out if you wanted to. They do card you at the door. Make sure you get your ID, and don't bring book bags. That's my 2 words of wisdom. Don't bring book bags unless you want to pay a $5 check charge, because they will check it.
Yes, they force you to check it.
$5 to check it.
Yeah.
And they do card you at the door, and they'll give you a wristband as to whether or not you're over 21.
And then we came home, and then we got the car service to Benihana. Now we got to take one of the newer Teslas with the gull wing doors.
The doors.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
It's weird because you don't know what to do when the doors are coming down. I'm like,
do we scrunch in? Am I going to be too far out?
It was weird, but it was really fun, honestly.
Yeah, it was a nice trip.
Yeah, and then they gave us a bottle of champagne.
Yeah, they gave us a bottle of champagne.
Which is still in my fridge.
Yeah, we didn't have that yet. And it was fun. And Benihana was great. So it was our first time going to Benihana. And as I said in the video, I have always had a passion for Benihana. I used to watch the show Chuck, which, if you don't know, he's like this super spy who gets this totally gorgeous, absolutely stunning girl. And she ends up being like a spy too. And then his best friend ends up becoming a spy. And it's got Adam Baldwin in it, who's fantastic as well. And so it's like that, this cool dynamic. And I think it was like season 2, end of season 2 or into season 3, Morgan, who's his best friend, goes to Hawaii because he wants to learn the ancient art of Japanese takeouts.
Why Hawaii though? It's so random that it's in Hawaii.
Because Benihana is from Hawaii, babe.
Oh.
Yeah, it's originally from Hawaii.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So he goes to the original Benihana in Hawaii and becomes a master Japanese chef. and I've always wanted to try it since then. And there was one in Orlando, but Nacy liked the other one in Orlando a lot, so we never really went to Benihana. And that's not to hit on Benihana. She really liked it, so why change? And this one came available. And just so you know, a legit tip, the one in the Westgate is only opened on the weekends and like Thursday through Sunday. The one that's in the mall is open 7 days a week. So
and they're both pretty much strippy to a way. Like the 100%. Westgate is a little bit on the other side of the strip.
Yes.
And then the Fashion Show Mall is like right there with the Wynn.
It's really not that far from each other.
They're really not. They're like a block or two maybe from each other.
It's a little difficult to get to with the roads, but it's really kind of next to each other if you could walk.
It's weird. It's kind of weird. So we had a fantastic dinner. It was good. Like it was really good. And the guy who was our cook that night, definitely one of his first nights cooking, I think, or maybe he was newer.
Oh, he was new for sure. Yeah.
And he definitely messed up a couple of things, but honestly, like no hate, bro. Like you're just trying your best. And honestly, I kept telling him like, it's okay. Like I'm not in a hurry. You don't need to worry about it. Like you're doing a great job. Like kudos to you. Like you're here. You showed up. That's all that matters. Like you're cooking my food.
And the poor guy, no one at the table was smiling when we sat down.
Yeah, nobody.
There was 4 other people there. They were both couples. It looked like 2 guys in a work trip were there. And then there was a couple at the other end. And then there was us at the far end. Mm-hmm. No smiles.
Nobody was smiling. Nobody was talking to each other.
The couple looked like the lady was about to slit the dude's throat. I don't know why they were so upset. It didn't make sense. And then the 2 guys
weren't talking.
Said like 3 words the entire time to each other. Yeah. That was it. He talked to us more at the end.
And he talked to his friend.
Then he talked to his friend. Yeah, he's like, don't I know you guys from somewhere? And we're like, I don't know. That's what we always say. We're like, I don't know.
I don't know. You know.
Maybe you've seen us.
Maybe he's like, oh, I think I've seen your channel. And we're like, cool. That's awesome. I'm glad you've checked it out. But it was really good. Like the service was really good. They sent us home with 4 containers of yummy sauce because she was so nice.
Yeah, we had a fishbowl drink that was like
mostly juice, but still good. Yeah,
it was still tasty. Yeah.
It was still good.
It wasn't very alcoholic, but again, it's Las Vegas. None of the drinks are alcoholic. We literally went to the Baccarat bar for my birthday or whatever you want to call that, and those drinks were watered down too.
Yeah, I honestly didn't even really feel drunky that night, and I had 2 drinks.
I had, I think, 4 or 6. And I didn't feel anything, but I mean, I drank a lot to get drunk if I wanted to. But
it's weird for me lately. It seems like the shit I drink, it's just not hitting me the same. I mean, later it does, and then I don't feel good. But it's been a fun roller coaster trying to figure out drinking. And
so October was a fun month.
Yeah.
Then we're heading off to South Carolina. And then
we got a lot of stuff coming up, and we're going to
talk
really
about
excited.
that later in the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. So coming up, next up, we got holidays.
Yeah, we're going to talk about our holidays. So.
But you know what? There's one more thing we should talk about.
Okay.
And that's Hallmark ornaments.
Oh, did you want to talk about that now?
I mean, yeah, let's talk about it.
Well, we should have brought them in here. You're supposed to make a TikTok, but as usual, if I don't do it, it doesn't get done.
It's just my brain lately. I'm going to be better.
I'm slammed, so I'm trying to get this tax stuff done.
He has been the rock. He is like running the show right now because I
got business cards. I got digital business cards finished last night. I literally just was like, I'm just going to do this. So we've been doing a whole bunch of
T-shirts. We got T-shirts, which we're not wearing. I'm sorry that we're not wearing them, but look for them in future videos. We're gonna be styling them.
You can find them at TeePublic. You look us up, Lost Girl in Tomorrowland on TeePublic, and you can find the 4 different designs we submitted. We did a basic design, 2 sort of
all designed by Gary.
Nacy pictures, and then we have just kind of like a come get lost with this one. That's kind of like a cute little plane circling the globe. They're really nice, and I love the tie-dye stuff.
Yeah, I love the tie-dye shirt. Like it's in the material. I have to say we ordered them because obviously we're not gonna like put them out there if we don't like the quality of them.
We wanted to test them out.
So we tested them out first, and we absolutely love them. Like love them. So if you guys want to support the channel in a different way, you can always go buy us a T-shirt, and we do get a portion of the profits from the T-shirt sales. Not a huge profit, but
who cares? You don't need to tell people what the profit is. Anyways, we also are officially monetized on YouTube.
What?
So not only that.
Okay, that's what you got to cheer for.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what you got. You got to cheer. You got to cheer for.
I gotta change these start buttons over. Okay.
It's kind of long.
But anyways, so now we actually have tiers, so you can actually join the legit family and some other things. So you get some backstage information. You can still get the postcards instead of going over to Patreon and doing it. You can do that all through YouTube. You can also give us super likes now, and there's a lot of other stuff too that we're super excited for. We're just sort of diving in, and when we get to the part about Google Ads, you'll know our frustration and how absolutely jubilant I am that we have finally got past step
we literally
one.
Today,
right before the show,
literally confirmed that we are golden.
Yep.
And everything is done, and we're so excited. We're so thankful.
Yeah,
First of all,
thankful you guys are actually following us. I mean, it's crazy.
We would not be here if you guys didn't hit that follow button.
People actually enjoyed listening to us. I never thought that would be the case. I mean, I taught at university, folks, and I didn't think people enjoyed listening to me there. I can't imagine.
Just have to say like a huge thank you to the people that are listening to us, the people who have listened to us from the beginning. And I'm just going to throw this out here. And I know it was like last month's birthday, but I'm just going to say happy birthday, Joe. Like, thanks, Joe, for always being there for us, listening to our shit, supporting us, and like literally being our biggest fan.
Yeah,
like,
we love you, man.
We are so thankful. And, but yeah, it's literally, this month has, so many things have happened this month. It's been...
So let's talk about the Hallmark ornaments, because you brought them up and your ADHD took you off target again.
Always.
So Hallmark ornaments.
Yeah, so if you guys don't...
Hold on, let me do this. Okay, I want the Hallmark ornaments. I am the one who literally stalked the Hallmark website to get this stuff.
Because he can.
To change.
He literally can.
So amazing. So we got the storytellers last year. You can check that out on our channel for the Star Wars storytellers. We posted a whole video about them last year. We did a bunch of TikToks too, and they're on Instagram as well, like showing what they do. This year they had Haunted Mansion. Now, I was a little hesitant because again, we don't need a tree topper, so it doesn't really fit our scheme. Yeah. But we're like, we'll just put it in a reef or something. Nacy was in South Carolina.
I was in Myrtle Beach, so I wasn't even in the town. It was literally the day before I had to leave.
Yeah.
And I told him, I woke up that morning, and for some reason, I was like, let me check. Because birthdays were coming up, and I was like, maybe I can get some stuff for him without telling him. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, let me look. And then I was like, oh, they restocked online. And I was like, hey, go check it out. And he's like, cool. So he goes online, he does his thing with the ornaments, with what he could get. And then I was like, I wonder, because online, the actual Haunted Mansion house, the tree topper, was sold out. Okay. It's been sold out everywhere. We can't find it in Vegas. We've tried.
Well, that's a whole nother that we'll get to after we tell you how we got it. We'll tell you why.
So, like we couldn't find it anywhere. And I was like, well, look online and see if there's any stores in Charleston or anywhere in Myrtle Beach that might have it in stock. Well, he looks online and there's a store in Charleston that said they had one in the store. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm in Myrtle Beach. I should be heading back home soon. I'll call them and I'll see if they really have it in stock and if I can get it. So I called the store. I was actually in the parking lot of a different Hallmark. I called the store, talked to the lady, and she was like, well, I think we have to go through the people on our wish list first, which is a whole thing that we're going to talk about here in just a second. But once we go through that list, I'll call you and I'll let you know if we still have it. Because apparently wish list is people basically turning lists into the store and saying, I want this, and they'll hold it for them. Crazy. And I was like, cool, thank you. It's okay if you don't call me back. I understand. So I hung up with her and I'm like, I'm going to go in the store. And I literally went in the store to get Gary a birthday card. That was it. That was the only reason I went in that store, because he said he had got the other ornaments online already. So I knew I didn't need to buy those. And
that were out at the time.
Yeah, that were currently out at the time. This was
before the 15th
this was
launch.
like before October.
15th, yes.
So I was like, I'm just going to go in here. I'm just going to get him a birthday card. Maybe I'll get some wrapping paper for the gifts I'm going to get him. That was my whole plan going into the store, because I'm traveling literally the next day. I'm going home and I don't need bulk. So I go in the store, I'm walking around, I'm just kind of looking. The lady comes up to me and she's like, hey, like, how's your day going? And I'm like, it's okay. She's like, can I help you with anything? I'm like, well, everything I want sold out. She's like, oh, well, what are you looking for? And I was like, honestly, the Haunted Mansion tree topper. And she looks at me and she's like, well, it's funny that you say that. I think, and don't hold me to this, I think we have one in the back. Again, I can't make any promises, but I'm going to go look. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, I really appreciate it. Like, it's cool if you don't have it, but thank you. And so I'm looking through birthday cards and a couple minutes goes by and here she comes around the corner and she was like, you're never going to believe this, but I found you one. And I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. And so I'm in Myrtle Beach. I have to now figure out how I'm going to get this big box because this thing is big. It's like 12 by 12 box. Like, it's a big box. And I'm like, all right, cool. Thank you. I bought it. And I'm like, I called Gary. I'm like, you're never going to believe what I just got. Because I wasn't going to tell him until after I had it. I wanted to make sure it physically was in my hands. And I told him, and I was like, guess what? I got the Haunted Mansion tree topper. But now I got to figure out how we're going to get it home because I don't have a suitcase big enough for this. So we kept it in the Hallmark bag and I used it as my carry-on, my second carry-on, because you get 2 carry-ons with Delta. And I put that thing in the overhead bin and that thing flew from Myrtle Beach back to Las Vegas. What are the chances? Like, crazy. Mm-hmm. Maybe we are a little crazy about these ornaments, but we really wanted it. And it is absolutely worth it. Amazing.
Oh, yeah. And then... So we got the Madame Leota at the time, and then we got the Let Me Out guy. I don't know what his name is.
I don't know his name either.
But if you've ever rode the ride, it's basically the
he's
first room.
He's in the coffin.
Yeah, he's like, let me out, let me out, let me
out,
out,
let me out,
let me out, let me out. You know, he's like that. So super cool. We got those two. And then we were like, okay, so this was before the 15th. She got back. And then a few days later, it was the 15th. So we're like, okay, let's just go to our favorite Hallmark because there's a one in Vegas that we used to go to.
That we loved. The people were nice. They were great. They were like super helpful.
And we say used to because we used to go to them. We spent a ton of money there last year. We bought all of the storytellers. We bought a bunch of other ornaments too.
It was definitely, we spent a lot of money last year.
So we went there. We got there at 9 when they opened. We literally were just waiting out in the parking lot like 8:50. We waited till 9. They opened. No big deal. No one was there, which was our first clue that something was wrong.
Nobody.
Well, I shouldn't say nobody. There was
one couple walked in.
Yeah, there's like maybe an old lady that was there, and then there was like this mom, grandmother, child that came in after us too. And so we go over there, and all we needed was the Victor Geist.
And he's the guy that plays the organ.
And he's the guy that plays the organ in the dancing scene. So if you're in the dancing scene, he's in the corner playing the organ. That's the only one we needed from that. And then I was looking for the Sega Dreamcast. Those are the two that we were planning on getting. We were going to look at some other ones too, but those are the main two. Walk in, there's a Sega Dreamcast. Cool, no problem. Pick that up. The entire Haunted Mansion is already gone.
Gone.
Nothing is there. And then they had a Superman ornament. Gone. They had most of the ornaments. Most of the new ornaments were gone.
Gone.
Luckily, they had the Sega Dreamcast, which is so random. And so we walked up to the lady. We're like, what's going on here? Like, where did all of it go? Oh, you got to get on the list. And Daisy's like, I'm sorry, the list? You have to get on the list.
I was like, can you explain this to me? Because I shop here all the time.
And we should have got the email, but we didn't. So for some odd reason, we're not getting the information from them.
I literally shop at this store. We were there in June
to get ornaments. Yeah.
And then I think we've stopped in one more time since then. And obviously we made plans to be there for the ornament debut, which is October 15th.
Yeah.
Like we made plans.
The calendars.
Like we were ready.
Yeah.
And we woke up that morning and the thing is Gary checked online and he was on there, right? Yeah. He was on there, but he was like, we're going to go to the store. We're going to make it an experience.
But plus then I want to pay local. So I wanted to give the money to a local business. Cause if you don't know, Hallmarks are most of them. There are some that are corporate stores, but most of them are actually owned by individuals who live in the community. So I was like, well, I'd rather just give my money to them than give it to just a website.
And she was very nice. The girl was very nice. She was trying to be helpful. But Yeah, she did try to sell me some bullshit ornaments, but
Well, did she sign you up for the list that she kept talking about? She kept talking about this list, but never gave us the opportunity to get on it. So
no,
how
she did.
helpful are you really
That's
if
true.
you're like, there's a wish list. Okay, how do we get on it? And then she would just change the subject and start talking about something else. Like, we would like to be on it. We've spent over $1,000 last year in this store alone.
Yeah.
We would like to be on that list.
And this is like a continual thing too. It's not like we're like a one and done type deal. Like
we buy our cards there. We buy our cards there. We buy the gift wrap stuff there, unless I buy crappy Walmart, which I'm never doing again. But we buy everything there. That's
our tree. Our Christmas tree is like 90% Hallmark ornaments, and there's a few here or there that are stuff that we've bought at like Disney parks or whatever. But majority of our tree is Hallmark, like our tree toppers, like everything. So we spend a lot of money on Hallmark. We really do love Hallmark ornaments. It's like a thing for us. So it was just kind of like a slap in the face that we couldn't really figure out. But basically what ended up happening is everybody, you fill out a wish list, and you can apparently either fill out this wish list online, or you can, or they have like a piece of paper that you can fill out and bring back to the store. And based on the order of their received, which is kind of weird, but I don't really know how well they're really taking care of this, but they go in order of wish lists that are received, and they'll go through them in terms of the ornaments that come in. So the Victor Geist, let's just talk about him. So if there were 50 people that wanted them and they only had 20, they would go through the list and they would call the 20. And if you wanted them, great, you could come in and get them. If you didn't, it went to the next person. And they do that apparently for all of the ornaments on the wish list. And this is something new that I don't think I've heard of. It's never been explained to me by anybody in any of the stores to be like, hey, if you want this, you should do this, and you should do it now.
Well, and on top of that, she blatantly lied to us. She's like, oh, we've never gotten any restocks of any of the Haunted Mansion ornaments. And I know that's a lie, because there's a store in California that's 200 miles away from us, right? And that's one of the like 10 closest stores to us, which is crazy if you think about it.
Joys of living in a dust bowl.
Right. So it's one of the closest stores to us, and it would refill just about every week. They would have some ornaments, or they would have the tree topper, and they would just keep getting it. So there's no way that somehow they're getting it, and yet the Vegas stores, which there's only like 8 of them, never got it.
It's weird. It's so weird.
Clearly one of them are reselling it, or they have a really long wish list. My guess is reselling, because if you look at the amount that they sell them for online, they're selling them for hundreds to $200 above what they're costing.
Also, too, the one thing I would like to note is when we went into the store that day, last week, they weren't the same employees that were there the last time we were there.
No, because they were older ladies.
Yeah. And super helpful. They were very nice.
Super sweet older. They reminded me of my grandparents. Like, like the super sweet grandma. They were just awesome. They literally gave us free stuff. Like, here, you're supposed to spend this much. You're close enough, though. Here, you enjoy it. And they bleep.
They're like, you guys have spent enough money.
And they didn't give us a card marking how many we bought. They didn't give us any of the bonuses you're supposed to get.
She didn't mark any of the ornament. Yeah,
the free bag or the free ornaments that we were supposed to get. Nothing. Like, it was just horrible. It
was a bad customer service experience, and it's almost enough for me to want to write the store to be like.
And then she was like, "You can just go to the other stores in the area and see if they have it." Yeah, I'm gonna waste my whole day doing that.
That's as a former employee of Hallmark, I've worked in a lot of retail, honestly. But I can remember people coming into the store for Hallmark ornaments, and we would call other stores for them.
Yeah, of course you would.
Like, because in the mall that we had in our old hometown, there were 2 Hallmark stores in the same mall.
Yeah.
There was one on this side and one on this side. But we would call around for them and be like, hey, like, do you guys have this? Or because we can't really check the stock, which is shitty. But you can call them, and that is called going above and beyond and doing, like, just that is what people expect when you go to a store like Hallmark. Like, they go there because they want.
And that's what's interesting, because there's no one else in the store. Once we left, the mom and her daughter and the grandmother was still there, kind of looking at some things, but the store was empty and there was no one outside. So
they had a premiere party the night before, is what they had told us, and that's when they all sold out.
And that's where they sold all the stuff that we supposedly should have been invited to, but she didn't care to check to make sure we're invited to the next one. She also didn't care to do anything, honestly.
And it's weird because that store specifically updated all of my information.
Yep.
The
Yeah,
last
we
time
with the old ladies.
Yeah, they
Yep.
made sure my phone number was good. They made sure my address was updated in the
Email,
system,
yep.
everything. So I know they have the correct information because that was kind of a problem for the last couple years is like people couldn't find me. And none of the Hallmarks had ever offered to like actually fix it and update it for me, but they did. So in my head, I'm like, okay, like this is my store.
Yeah.
Like you guys are my store.
We drove past 3 stores to get there. Like, I mean, we actually go out of our way to go to this Hallmark store because they were good. Mm-hmm. So we went back. Now I'm just going to get them online. I'm just not going to, it's an extra headache. That's just not worth it. And I was up. I should have just ordered it then. We wouldn't even had to have got up. I could have just went back to sleep. Like,
So we ended up paying slightly more than market price, but
no, we paid market price. I just had to pay an extra $15 because we're leaving and it would have took too long for it to get here. So I had to pay a little bit extra on the shipping. But we paid just the Hallmark price. Yeah.
okay. Well, that's not terrible.
Yeah.
So now we have the complete collection.
Yeah, we got Victor Geist, Guy in Tomb. I don't know what the Let Me Out guy. And then Manoliota is fantastic, by the way, and the Tree Topper.
And all of them together is really cool. The one thing we were surprised, though, is that they did not do a Hatbox Ghost
Yet. Again, with the Star Wars, though, they released 3 of them the first year, which is what they did with Haunted Mansion. Then they released 3 the second year. So my guess is Hatbox Ghost, lady screaming at you for your death certificate at the end. And then it's kind of up in the air. Maybe the Hitchhikers, but they've already done Hitchhikers.
They'll probably do like Constance Hatchaway.
Oh, yeah.
Where she's like,
Yep. You're right.
Till death do us part. And she says some other stuff.
Isn't that the death certificate lady, though?
No, she's a different lady.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 999 ghosts.
Yeah, I know that. Because they do that voice, the lady at the end. So I'm 100% sure she's going to be next year because they always they don't really add stuff. They just take pieces that are already there and make it.
Pull it, yeah. The other
it's already
one,
programmed. They already know what's going to come out.
The only other thing I could see maybe them doing is maybe doing like the headstones.
The singing headstones.
The singing
Yeah.
headstones.
Yeah.
Like I think that would be really cool. Or possibly doing the hitchhiking ghosts. Like integrating the hitchhiking ghost into it.
Or like the Crypt Keeper would be an option too, because that would be that scene as well.
They didn't do the voice like a ghost will follow you home. Like they didn't add that line.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think I remember hearing like or maybe do something with a doom buggy. I mean, there's a couple of things. I think there's definitely room for them to add. I will say the one disappointment that I have not found yet, and I probably will have to pay more than market price, is the Han Solo going in.
I haven't been looking for that. See, the problem with those ornaments, we have the Fantasia ornament, which is exactly like the Han Solo is. It's a girthy ornament that can't go on a tree, so you're kind of stuck with it. I don't like it. It breaks so easily, and my thoughts are the Han Solo one's going to be the same way, so I haven't even been looking for that, honestly.
I just want to complete the collection.
It's a cool ornament. It's just I just don't think it's going to last. And I was already frustrated. We got the Battlestar Galactica ornament. It's super tiny. It takes super, super tiny hearing aid batteries.
And it doesn't do much.
It's so frail. Yeah, and it's only got like 3 lights on it. It's like, this is disappointing. And then when it's in the box, it's like in wrapping. So it's just in like parchment paper, I guess is what it is. And then there's 2 parchment paper balls on each side of it to keep it flat in the box instead of doing like a clamshell thing. It's like, you are so cheap, Hallmark.
Yeah.
And yet the ornament's $30-something.
So that's kind of what we've been up to.
I know it's a bit off topic there.
I know it's been, but you know what? It's going to bring us into the holidays and talking about our traditions, those kinds of things. So,
So we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
All right. So next topic, we're going to talk about the holidays. Just kind of going from Hallmark ornaments, which by the way, our tree's up. We put our tree up. We don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
We love Christmas.
We do love Christmas.
We like Halloween too. But in terms of holidays, we enjoy celebrating. We enjoy Christmas. We enjoy Thanksgiving. Just because it really gives us time to kind of reconnect with family, reflect back on the year, and just be thankful for the things that we can be thankful for. And like we mentioned earlier in the podcast, we have a lot to be thankful for this year. It's been a really great year. No year's perfect, but I have to say it's been really nice to go on the journeys with you and explore things. And so, yeah, we're really excited about moving in to Thanksgiving. Usually I cook.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of my biggest things is, and I talked about last year and Thanksgiving time on our podcast, talked about how I didn't really care for Thanksgiving that much, at least back in the day, because my family does not like to season things. So Thanksgiving was never a positive holiday. We'd have to go to the grandparents. We'd have dry, bland food, and then I'd be starving because we weren't allowed to have breakfast. You weren't allowed to have any lunch. You had to wait for the meal to be cooked, and there were no like appetizers or anything either.
That just sounds awful. That just sounds awful.
It was not a fun experience, is what I'm saying. So it definitely turned me off to Thanksgiving. Now, since we can actually make hors d'oeuvres, we can do a breakfast if we want, which we don't really do.
No.
And then we do like the turkey, and it tastes really good and it's seasoned. I have come to like Thanksgiving more, but Christmas is still my favorite holiday.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I came from a family where we had food everywhere. Like, my family loved to eat, and they didn't give a shit if you ate all day. You better sit down at that table and you're going to eat some turkey and you're going to eat some of this other stuff. Because my grandma really liked to cook. I will say that. My grandma liked to cook. So majority of my formative years when I was younger, my grandmother would make Thanksgiving dinner. And a lot of times, especially when she got older, she moved in with my parents probably the last like 6 or 7 years of her life. And then before that, she lived independently for the longest time, but she would come spend the holidays with us at our house. And then when I was like really, really young, when she lived in North Carolina, sometimes we would go see her. Which was always fun. So, but there was always food. Like there was always breakfast. Like she would make biscuits. She would make breakfast.
Biscuits.
And then there ain't nothing like a homemade biscuit made from scratch.
Oh yeah, you get that nice butter in there.
And the one thing she liked to make that I never liked was country ham.
Yeah, I'm not a ham guy. So.
And I like sweet ham.
Well, I like sausage and bacon. Let's just stick to that breakfast. There's no need to bring ham into this situation.
She loved to make a country ham, which if you've never had country ham, it's salted and it is so salty. Like it is the saltiest salty thing that you will ever have. And it's just not my forte. But yeah, so she would make that. And then obviously the adults would always be drinking. She would always have like eggnog or like some kind of like mixed drink. And then we would have people come, like we would have family come, whether it was like friends in the area or like family in the area, they would all come to our house. So like our house was always like where people came, which is really weird because I'm sharing some family drama here. But once my dad was like a couple of drinks in, he got racist and he became an asshole. And then everybody would leave. So why they just kept coming back, I don't really know. Maybe
and just so you know, her dad's Cuban.
Yeah, my dad's Cuban. So, it's just that was the territory. But it was always nice because we got to hang out with people we hadn't seen in a long time. Like a lot of my cousins and extra family that lived in Naples, a lot of times they would come to us or we would go to them. Like Aunt Jean and Debbie, like they would come over a lot of times too. So like we had a lot of people that would come over and we would see. But yeah, my grandma cooked most of the time. My mother is not a cook. Not a cook.
Yeah, my mom wasn't that great of a cook either. She's a decent baker, but because you don't have to put salt and stuff. Every time my mom would read a recipe and it had oil or salt in it, she'd be like, we don't need this. We don't need this. And that's like, I thought that for a long time. I would make the box cakes. The box cakes is a great example. So she would make box cakes, and in the box cakes, it asked for oil. It asked for like a quarter of a cup of oil, right? She said that you don't need that. You don't need oil. Why do you need oil?
What would she put in it?
Nothing. She would just take it out. That's the thing. She would just make it with the water, or if it had called for milk, she'd make it with the milk.
Fascinating.
But if it said oil, just lop it off. She said it didn't add anything to the taste, didn't add anything to the flavor. It didn't matter. So that's her cooking style. And it was the same thing with other things too. If it called for salt or oil, she would half the salt, or she'd put barely any salt. It was like steaks. Steaks would be like a tad bit of salt, a tad bit of pepper, and that would be your seasoning. And then she'd throw them on the grill, and it was just like bland.
I've really had to slowly reintroduce foods back into Gary's life and be like, it's okay. But I do forewarn him. I do try all my food before I feed it to him. And I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. I made a terrible mistake like not that long ago, and I tried to make chicken nuggets, and instead of coating them in flour, I coated them in baking soda, and it was terrible. It went directly into the trash like 2 seconds after I figured it out.
Well, she also had to look up the toxicity of it, and she's like, I think I didn't eat enough to get sick. I'm like, you had one small bite. You'll live.
It was so gross. It was the grossest thing ever.
Right, I'm not saying it was good. I'm just saying you'll live. It's not going to kill you.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody could eat like baking soda because that shit tastes like soap. Like straight up tastes like soap. But yeah, so I do slowly kind of reintroduce foods back into Gary's life. And I think he likes my sauce. Like I think he likes my spaghetti now. I make sauce now from scratch, and I've learned how to make sauce for like lasagna and like different things.
Yeah, it's not just you though. We've also gone to like better restaurants that make good food. So I've tried some good pastas and some other things. So it's like I'm less hesitant to...
He's got some food PTSD.
Yeah, I'm still hesitant on the spaghetti though, but that's a story for another day.
But yeah, so my family always cooked. And as we got older, my sisters started making more things because...
Yeah, your one sister's a really good cook.
Yeah, and Sierra's vegan... vegetarian.
Which, yeah, whatever. Anyways, but that is a whole nother.
So that added a whole layer to the holidays.
Well, that's funny because my sister sort of faded in and out of the vegetarian vegan, which made our food even worse. Because then you just have these like random things my mom would make to make her happy, and it was like I don't think she liked them either. In her defense, so
she was trying. I mean, honestly, she tried. I give her kudos for that. But my family is like, we're not going to eat tasteless food.
Yeah,
and so Sierra definitely took it to another level. And, you know, we're, at least the way my family looks at it and the way I look at it too, is like, if I'm going to have somebody come over and they have like a dietary need or restriction, I'm going to do my best to make that taste as good as possible. And so like 2 years ago, we had her and her ex-boyfriend over for both Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I made her like a special little like roast and like special little stuff, and she was like,
special gravy.
She was like, this is the best I've ever had. She's like, I can't even make this. And I was like, well, I'm so glad that you love it, because I feel like cooking for me is me showing people love. That's the way I look at it. I really do love it. I know the first Thanksgiving after your mom died, like I was like, I'm going to make Thanksgiving. I'm going to do this because this is how I know how to show people love, is through cooking. And I am not like the greatest cook ever. I'm not somebody who measures things. I literally cook with my feelings, and I taste and I go. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But so far, my Thanksgiving dinners.
If you can stay focused on it long enough.
This is true, because tonight I was like, I burned my chicken nuggets tonight because I got distracted.
So for this year, we're going to be spending it some with my family. We'll kind of be all over for the holiday season, honestly. We're going to be in South Carolina for some of it.
We're going to be in Georgia
for some of it.
And we're going to
be
Orlando.
In California for some of it. We're going to be in Orlando for some of it. So we're going to be like all over the United States, and of course Las Vegas too.
Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah. I'm excited because we're going to see Christmas time on both coasts at the park. So definitely look out for that on the YouTube channel.
Yep.
I'm really excited. I was a little bummed because we're not going to make it to see like fall on both coasts, but the great news is that the Haunted Mansion overlay at Disneyland goes all the way through Christmas time. And that's what we really love.
Well, that's the only thing. I mean, we've seen vloggers go to Disney World already, and they're just doing the standard stuff. Disney World doesn't try.
Yeah, it's they just...
At least Disneyland does some overlays, does some different things. It's really nice and fun. Disney World just sort of phones it in.
But yeah, we got a bunch of dining reservations at Disney World. And then we're going to take a trip when we get back to Disneyland and go check that out. I'm not really sure how many days. There's only 2 parks. So, I mean, it's not as big as Disney World.
And if you really wanted to, you could do them all in one day.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, if you had a strategy and you don't want to like eat a ton of food, that you could easily do them in one day.
So we're going to do that. We're going to go hang out at his dad's house in the mountains, which I'm excited for, because that's like my happy place. I feel like it really grounds me to be in the mountains, and just, especially when it's cooler, when it's cool out and you get that breeze and like you smell the fresh air. I don't know. There's just something about it. It just hits me in the feels.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I mean, we'll probably go back to the Buchanan house and see that. So that should be done. The only stinky part of that is that they wait to do the Christmas decorations now until like the week after Thanksgiving. And so we won't be there at that point. So we'll miss the
the
town's
lightings of the
Halloween
towns,
or Halloween Christmas decorations.
which we talked about. We just talked about last year about trying to do that this year. And we really did try to get everybody together for the Thanksgiving holidays, but it just didn't work out this year.
Yeah.
Next year, we've got a plan for next year, guys, and I'm excited. We're just gonna do it.
Yeah, sadly, we've already got to start planning out our next year now. Well, we found a tax person, so that alleviates a lot of our sort of stress surrounding the business. Hopefully, we've got two
Fingers
potentials.
crossed.
I'm hoping one of them works out, and then once we get that set up, that frees a lot of us up. So now it's just focusing on planning and focusing on what's next.
And honestly, with the YouTube channel being monetized, it's like it's a little weird. Like
we're actually earning money now.
And it's not, YouTube is a bear in and of itself. It really is. But
we're going to talk about that at the end.
Yeah, we're going to get to that here in just a minute. But I think next year we're going to like get a cabin somewhere. I don't know where.
Let's not spoil it. We don't know what we're going to do.
This is tentative, what we're thinking.
So this year, though, we'll be doing some stuff.
This year, we're going to Disney World for Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah. I'm also excited to see, like, Helen at Disney Time is fun. So we'll see it post-Oktoberfest, but not all the way till Christmas yet, which is always nice. There's always a lot of lights there. There's always a lot of drinking beer there. There's some shops and stuff that we'll definitely highlight, because last year we just kind of did, like, a drive-through and did, like, a bunch of stuff. This year I'd like to actually go and sort of detail, like, this is what's here, because we used to live there. So we know Helen in and out. We know Blue Ridge in and out. We know Young Harris really well too. McKaysville, all those areas. So we want to go back and sort of highlight some of those things and show you kind of the best restaurants.
Because it really is a great vacation spot.
Oh, yeah.
It really is. It is especially the further up you go. A lot of people, when they vacation in the Georgia mountains, they kind of stop right around the Blue Ridge area, LJ. Yeah. Like, they don't quite continue to go up, but the further up you go, I swear, the prettier it gets and the quieter it gets.
I don't know about prettier. I mean, it's all really nice.
And it's different. So, like, it's so different being here on the West Coast and seeing the dirt and the rustic cliffs.
Yeah.
And then you go to the East Coast and it's like so much green. Like there's so much green, so much tree, and you really appreciate both. You do. You really appreciate both.
Yeah.
And like we're excited to go back to some of our old stomps. We're gonna try and do the Bigfoot Museum.
I'm excited to go back to Nani's.
Yeah, we love
Nani's is a restaurant
Nani's.
that is in Blairsville, Georgia. It is the greatest restaurant that has ever existed. Marie makes the best food I've ever tasted in my life.
And Ray is hilarious.
Yeah. Super nice people, and the food is literally to die for. Like, you think of diners, drive-ins, and dives. This is definitely, this is like a Cuban meets Puerto Rican diner, and it's
delicious.
Yes, everything is.
And
delicious.
they started from the bottom. Like they started in a gas station.
Yeah. And I saw on their Facebook page a couple days ago they're thinking about buying a classic Ferrari, so they've definitely gotten the up on it.
Yeah.
But kudos to them. They're amazing and wonderful people too.
Yeah, I still remember the first time I had them. I had them with your mom.
Well, with the Cuban sandwiches, my mom loved the Cuban sandwiches there. So she would go there, and it was in the gas station at the time. Mm-hmm. She would get a pork belly bowl or something like that. It was
Piggy bowl.
Piggy bowl. Yes, you would get the piggy bowl. And then I would get the Cuban sandwich, which is fantastic, by the way. Everything there is. And we'd eat that, and I was like, that's super good. And then they eventually moved to this nice little restaurant, and me and Nacy tried it. And so good. We used to like order it at the end of the day and pick it up on the way home. Oh, so good.
So good. And we became really good friends with them. Like we're just, and that's one thing I think about being in a small town. Everybody knows everybody, and you build these relationships. And we have been, I just saw a Facebook post from like 15 years ago. Us living there during the summer before we went to Syracuse. Yeah. And it's like we keep going back there, and we lived there about like 7 or 8 years ago for about 2 years. We lived there.
We were there for a lot longer than that.
Yeah, maybe longer. Yeah. And time is fleeting. Time is definitely fleeting.
We were there for like 3 or 4 years.
And, like we just we loved it there. We do.
Yeah.
It has its pluses. It has its negatives. It's.
Yeah. So if you're younger, the biggest problem is there's not much to do.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem there, is that it's really just if you like hunting and stuff, there's a ton of stuff to do. But if you actually want to do like anything other than hunting,
Yeah, you
or
want to go
recreation
outside.
stuff, yeah, it just doesn't have that.
They have a college. It's a college town. Young Harris is.
Somewhat, yeah. It's a very small college.
And then one of my coworkers that does what I do and travels with me, she just moved there. And it's crazy because I was like, wait, what? You moved to Young Harris?
And we consider it, but it's like 2.5 hours from Atlanta, which is your closest airport. And
that's a lot.
Well, and Atlanta airport is not fun.
Yeah, so, or you can go like 2 hours the other way and go to Tennessee. And it's like
Tennessee or Charlotte even.
Yeah, and it's like, we're not ready for that yet in our life. Who knows? Maybe in the future, 10, 15, 20 years from now, things settle down and we're just doing YouTube and we're not catching flights as much. Who knows? Yeah, Who knows what happens? But yeah, so going back to holidays though, for this year, yeah, like I said, we're going to Disney World for Thanksgiving. We're going to do some Christmas time at Disneyland. We're going to do Christmas here in Vegas. They are bringing the light show that we've done for the last 2 years. We've done it for 2 years, guys.
Illuminations.
Like, we need to get on their PR list because this is going to be our 3rd year with Illumination.
And we do the best videos. We've actually seen
we really do.
Because we actually film it in the car, and then we actually have the GoPro on the roof too. Yeah. So we film it twice so that we can use both. And then we typically overlay it with different music. But hey, if they sponsor us, I'm happy to put your music up.
Yeah, 100%. But if you don't know what Illumination is, it is a drive-through light experience.
If you're a Disney fan, it's kind of like the Osborne lights, but you drive through it.
And you turn your radio on. They have their own playlist, and basically from start to finish, you kind of go through the whole playlist if you drive slow enough.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they actually time it so you go through the whole playlist. You should.
You should.
Yeah, you should.
Take your time.
Yeah, take your time.
And you like go through a bunch of different light structures, and they're all different. Every single one's different. Like we've done Reindeer Road, and we actually did 2 last year. We did because we ended up being back in Phoenix. Yep. We did Phoenix the first year, which was amazing, which was Reindeer Road. Yep. And then we did Candy Cane Lane, I think was what Phoenix was last year. Mm-hmm. And then Reindeer Road was in Atlanta.
It was different though. Like,
it was different.
They call it the same thing, but they are slightly different even when they call it as if it's a different time. Then we also did the Speedway.
Yeah, we did the Speedway,
which wasn't
2 years
Illumination,
ago.
so in Illumination's defense, they didn't do that turd. But we did go to the Speedway.
And the Speedways was really long. It was actually really long, but
really bad and really poorly planned out.
It was just like everything was like advertisements.
Yep.
And you know, kudos, they're trying. They tried to do something, but the execution wasn't quite there. So I'm really excited to check out Illumination here in Vegas. Finally, I'm excited for that. And then I think too, I mean, it's up to you if you want to go back, but we did the maze thing last year. That's going to be back this year in Vegas, the Christmas maze.
I'm not against that. Yeah,
it was a fun night. It was simple, but it was a fun night, you know? And then we're going to go ice skating. I have been wanting to go ice skating for the last 2 years, but I was always post-op or like something was going on that I probably shouldn't go ice skating. And this year I think I'm fine to go ice skating. So, you know, my health insurance going to make sure that that's in check in case I hurt myself, but we're not. I used to go ice skating a lot when I was a kid. That was definitely a tradition that I used to do was go ice skating. We used to go up to Beach Mountain in North Carolina and we would go ice skating and I loved that. And then when I lived in Florida, we would go to the Everglades thing, the indoor rink, and we go ice skating there.
Yeah, I know where the Everglades are. The Everglades is a minor league hockey team that plays at used to be the Tico Arena, but I don't know what they call it now.
Yeah. So that was kind of like what I did. So we're going to do that this year. I'm really excited. And then obviously just enjoying each other for Christmas. I'm taking off work.
Yeah, we're going to spend a decent amount of time in December in Vegas because we just don't want to go anywhere. We are tired.
And we just want to be home.
And we want to be home. Yeah.
Yeah. We miss home. And we love what we do. We love being on the road. It's fun. It's exciting. But there's just something about being home for the holidays, which we have not done. We haven't been home.
It's been many, many years.
Since because either we were working or we were visiting family. And I really want to do, like, honestly, going back to like traditions for us, like I think Christmas vacation is definitely one of my holiday traditions, and that's more leaning towards Christmas time, but I think it's safe to watch it on Thanksgiving to really, you know.
Oh, as soon as Halloween's over, it's Christmas movie time.
Bring in the Christmas movies.
Oodalali, Oodalale. Oodalale.
But I would love one day, whenever that day comes, is to host my own green family Christmas.
We need a little bigger house.
The green family Christmas.
We need a little bigger house, but yes.
But yeah, I think that would be fantastic one day. Like, perfect Christmas is to be able to host and have people at my house and be like, this is your room, this is your room. Make yourself comfortable. Because again, like, that's my love language. Like, I want to take care of my family. And yeah. What about you? I know I've been rambling for the last 15 minutes, but...
No, I've been talking. Same thing. I'm excited. I'm excited to get up to the mountains and see some cooler weather, probably see a little bit of changing leaves, some opportunities there. Then we have Disney, and Disney's always fun. Mm-hmm. It's definitely experience. And again, we're still heavily considering moving there, so it's definitely high on the list, and we're sort of figuring some things out. It'll be nice to see Joe again and the boys. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we get to see the boys this time. We didn't last time just because schedules and school was starting, and it's just, sometimes those things happen. And then, honestly, it'll be interesting being back in Orlando, seeing how bad it's going to get, because with wages and stuff there.
Yeah,
and
things are just kind of...
I don't know. They were already hurting when we were there last time. It's been a few months now. It's only going to be getting worse. So hopefully,
yeah,
things work out there.
I hope things get better for them, but...
And then heading to California. I mean, I love California. Honestly, we definitely are heavily considering California too. It's just probably a little bit too expensive for us right now.
Yeah.
And I love the weather there. I don't mind the freeway. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. I don't mind driving on it, except for when it's raining and there's no lights out. That did stink. But normally it's not a bad drive. And I would really love to see Disneyland, and maybe if we can get down to like the Walk of Fame and stuff like that. And see that
would be awesome.
Those are some areas that I really want to see too. So
a Hollywood sign, yeah.
And then going back to even Christmas in Vegas, I'll be happy to see the illumination thing. Is always fun. I love it. Mm-hmm. And then the other stuff too, whatever we decide to do. Vegas stunk at Halloween this year. I really tried to find stuff, and it was really just, there's nothing. Like, they're doing nothing, and the only things they are doing are only Halloween weekend.
Yeah.
So they have this car wash that they're going to make to be a spooky car wash, which is, it would probably be cheesy, but we would totally have done it.
Yeah, that's totally what we're about.
It's literally for 3 days. It's literally Halloween weekend, and then they quit, and that's it. So we're just sitting here what are we going to do for Halloween? You're not doing anything. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Fremont has something Halloween night, but that's it. They don't do anything else. So that sucks. Honestly, it sucks. But at least for Christmas, the stuff comes in November, and there's some stuff that we can do here that sort of opens some opportunities, and we can enjoy them.
Yeah, so we're excited. Definitely excited. And you guys just, if you want to see all these adventures, just subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, Lostgirlintomorrowland at YouTube.
That's where you're going to find it. And it's all going to go up. We're not going to do Vlogmas this year.
Yeah.
Like how we've done previous years. It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
And it's not a lot of payoff in terms of what you guys want to see.
Yeah, and if you join our legit family on YouTube or on Patreon, you can actually see a behind the scenes video from 2 years ago, and you can see how much work goes into just making. We made 6 videos in one day that day.
Oh my God.
And the amount of work that we had to do, we literally got up at 8 o'clock. We were still working at 11 or 12 o'clock at night, because we're trying to get all these videos out for the legit holiday. And we're just nah, it's not worth it anymore.
It was a lot of fun, and maybe in the future we'll consider it again. Oh, yeah. But it just... Yeah, but we'll be thinking the end of this year, how many videos we're going to put out. Are we going to change how many we put out a week, more or less? Those type of things will be. Because we're ever changing, ever growing. And if you guys have suggestions or things you guys want to see, by all means, leave us comments about it, because we always want to see, we want to go do what you guys want to do too. Yeah, if you listen to us on Spotify, there's actually a comment section right below that you can comment on. So feel free to let us know. We typically do surveys and stuff there, but feel free, man. We're always about learning what you all want to see, what you want us to talk about. Yeah. But yeah. So moving on. Yeah. So let's talk about Google Ads. Let's finish it with Google Ads. So like we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, we are officially monetized on YouTube. Whoa! See, I did it. I did it for you. I was close. I gotta get faster at pushing those buttons. I was close. close. Thank you. Thank you to our studio audience. But yeah, so we are officially monetized, which means we make a little bit of money off of the ads that play on our videos. That's it. That's all that means.
I mean, it means more than that, but yeah, that's sort of the really basic stuff. We make off ads, off clicks. There's a couple other areas we make a little bit of money off of, and then we also are allowed to do like different
live stream now.
levels. We can do super likes, which is giving us a little money when we start doing live streams, which we are planning on doing. I'm not sure. We're hoping like next year, maybe January, to do our first live stream of this show and just kind of live stream it.
And we might try a live stream while we're in the Disney parks. Who knows?
Yeah.
Those things will be kind of sporadic, and you'll want to subscribe to like our Instagram or Facebook, because that'll probably be where we make the announcement.
Yeah.
And it'll probably be very last second. And if you show up, great, cool. We'll be excited to see you. And we're just going to kind of rough it the first couple times, because it's going to be rough while we figure out the technology and we figure out how to do it. But I'm really excited to be able to take the live stream out of the studio, because we could always live stream, but it had to be at home.
Right.
We couldn't live stream outside. But now that we hit the 1,000 subs, we can.
But if we live stream inside, we couldn't do the super likes still. So now we have that ability too, which is why I'm saying that we should do this show.
So it's exciting. It's exciting. And we'd love to have a live stream podcast. And whenever we do decide to do that, we'll definitely give you guys plenty of notice. So that way you guys can put it on your calendars. And it might be something that we could continue to do in the future, is make this a live stream. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And but yeah.
Well, another live stream we want to do is we want to do it down the Las Vegas Strip too. So we're planning on doing some like walking out of the Las Vegas Strip and just live streaming, because we were down there last week. Well, this week technically, and the construction and stuff. I don't think people understand the absolute chaos and annoyance that is.
It's crazy.
So we're super excited to show stuff like that, as well as just kind of like interesting things. Like it's kind of fun to take you guys along and have you
in the moment
join us in the moment. Yeah.
Because you guys, when you see us on YouTube, it's sort of in the moment. We are very like real about the timing and where we're at, and we're not like trying to sugarcoat anything or cut anything out that's not more than just garbage. But I think having the ability to live stream is definitely an ability that I'm really excited for.
Yeah,
for sure. But with that
came the process of actually getting monetized. Now, after you reach so many subs and so many hours, we're not going to be specific because that can change from Google. That's not why we're talking. But we reached those. We reached the hours actually last year. So we had the hours for over a year before we got the subs. And the reason why we couldn't get the subs, and honestly, it's because YouTube barely showed us to anybody. We were really fighting the algorithm. And
so we made a decision this summer to pay to promote some of our videos. And we kind of trialed this a little bit too, because this is kind of where we're going with the channel, and what we were really trying to figure out is what do we really want to do with the channel. So we threw up some of our Vegas vlogs, and they did good. And then we decided, let's try some of our Disney videos. And holy crap, was there a huge response. There was an even bigger response to our Disney videos than there were to the Vegas videos. And I think that came from the fact that I think when people want to watch Vegas videos, I think it's kind of like a one and done. They're not necessarily watching you to subscribe to you. They don't really care what your future videos are. They're not watching to see what your next steps are. Now, I think there are some that do, but I think the vast majority of people that are looking up Las Vegas content are not people who are subscribing to continue to watch Vegas content. They want to know for their next trip, and then they're done. And then maybe if they come again. Disney, however, I think people want to experience what they can't experience, or maybe they couldn't get to the parks this year.
Well, I would also make the argument that Disney folks who like Disney content seem to be more interested in adventures and experiences. And the people who are coming to Vegas are mainly focused on gambling. And I understand that's kind of what Vegas's main draw is. So you're not really interested in those experiences. So when someone from Disney sees it, they're like, oh, these people do crazy adventures. I want to see where else they go. You know, they've been to New York, Charlotte. They've been to and on and on and on to this year. So I think that's a big part of it too.
So it definitely, by us promoting certain content, we were able to really see the response from the general public and who YouTube shows it to us. Two, we were able to see that, okay, people like this content, but YouTube's not showing it to anybody because they're only showing it when we pay them to promote it. And three, we were able to go from roughly 600 subs this summer, I think was where we were.
I don't know the exact number anyway.
I think we were roughly around 600 subs, 600 subs this summer, to 1,000 subs. We hit 1,000 subs in October. I think like October 1st.
First week of October, yeah.
Yeah. So three months.
Yeah.
Of
We doubled what we had in 3 months.
Trying, and don't get me wrong, we definitely paid money into the system to promote these videos.
Yeah, but not that much. First off, we didn't pay that much. And we only promoted like one video at a time.
Yeah.
And the Drinking Around the World Epcot really blew up.
Yeah.
And really helped us sort of grow. So not only was it getting shown, and once it starts showing it more because you pay, it actually shows it more because in the algorithm it thinks that it's doing well. Mm-hmm. It is a fantastically difficult system. And so then more people saw it, and then more people would see it. And so it really did well for us.
Because I think what people don't realize is if you are not somebody who doesn't already have a following on some other social media, you're starting with scratch. You are starting from scratch.
Right.
And you could get lucky. You could get lucky. And that luck is luck. That you make something and it goes viral.
Yeah.
Or you're going to be sitting there and you're going to be grinding. Like you are going to be like, you got to put in the work. And not that we ever started this and didn't think that wasn't going to be what we were going to do. Going to be honest. We weren't sure we were ever going to hit this point. And it's a grind. And I don't think anybody tells you that. And you can hear it from people that are like, you got to put in the work. You got to work on your videos. You got to make it this. You got to make it that. And we have definitely worked on improving our camera, our audio, our editing, our social media. Like we have definitely grown a lot and we've learned a lot. And there's no guide. There's no guide. You can watch videos from people that are like, do this to get 1,000 subs, do this to better your video. And it's just generic. It's generic, whitewashed crap that everybody's spewing. There's no secrets. There's no secrets that they're telling you.
Well, my sister got me a book, and it had Mr. Beast had the first sort of like prelude, and I'm totally blanking on what the word is, but basically he wrote an introduction to this book, and he's like, "Oh, the YouTube algorithm works. Once you figure it out, it's really good. It works for you." And then he always argues that, well, if I shut down my channel, I could easily get to 1 million subs again in a couple of days. Of course you could. You know Tom Brady.
Right.
You know all these wealthy people with these massive followings. They share one of your video, there's over a few million people that are going to see it. So that in itself, even if he got 1/10 of 1 million people, he's already monetized. So it's like, yeah, I get it. You're wealthy. You know wealthy people who have followings. It's easy to reproduce. And it seems like that's what people don't get. And then on top of that, you have the YouTubers who started out when it was really early and the algorithm was very, very friendly to them. It's not friendly anymore.
It's definitely changed. And it's changed since we've started too.
Right.
But if there's one thing that I'm seeing, and I know you've seen it too consistently, is that our Disney content does really well. And I think moving forward with the channel, that's definitely going to be something we're going to focus more on. It's not going to become our entire identity.
Yeah, because we really do like traveling.
And we love having adventures, but I think Vegas has run its due. And
for us, yeah.
For us.
Well, I mean, we've done almost every single attraction. So if you look on our channel, there's very few things in Vegas that we haven't actually done. We're kind of done with it. We've done all the museums. We've done all these like crazy things. And some stuff we couldn't tape. So we've done them. We just didn't do them on camera because we couldn't tape them. So we've done pretty much everything in Vegas. And it sort of piggybacks. So let's talk about the AdSense thing. So I really would posture to people that Google Ads is a scam. Google Ads help is a scam.
And we have been trying. So we got monetized at the beginning of October. We're now.
We had the ability to be monetized. Yeah.
We're now
20 days in.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Almost 4 weeks in to this month of us submitting paperwork and getting it rejected.
Every other day, folks. It was about a 2-day turnaround. So we would
submitting
submit paperwork
and getting it rejected because we created because this is a business for us.
Yeah.
This isn't a hobby. This isn't just something that we're doing for fun. I mean, don't get me wrong, we have fun doing this.
Yeah, well, we are doing this for
but
fun.
We are investing in this because we want this to become something.
Mm-hmm.
Lost Girl Productions is what we are encompassing our podcast, our YouTube channel, and hopefully other things in the future. We have a couple different podcast ideas that we're hoping to kind of start next year, and just kind of see where that goes, because podcasting is fun, man. Like, I can sit here and I can talk for hours. I am a chatty Cathy.
Well, it's not just that. I went to school for 20 plus years. I know environmental stuff in and out. I know nonprofits in and out. So there's a lot of avenues that we want to explore even further.
Yeah.
And I would be, and I'm an expert at these things. So sharing that knowledge is fun. And I think that'd be interesting as well.
And so we created a business, and that was the problem. That was the problem, because we wanted YouTube to pay our business. We have an EIN number for the business. And if you know anything about businesses and you know anything about taxes, it means that when they pay you, they can pay you 2 ways. They can pay you personally to your social security number, because that's how you pay your taxes, or they can pay your business, which is an EIN number. And that's how the IRS knows that the money went to a business or the money went to you personally.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get them to accept our business. But what we didn't know, because nobody told us, is that we had to have things set up prior.
Well, that's not true. No one told us. We couldn't find anybody. We submitted a help request to Google
3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. They finally responded that we
2 days ago.
Yeah, they finally responded and said that we need to submit a help request through the thing that we already submitted a help request for them. Every time it was just circular arguments. You need to go here and submit a help request. That's how we got to you. How do you think we got to you? That is how we got to you. Yeah, we called.
And now my number's blocked.
Well, from Google Ads help. But that's something that I want to talk about in a minute. That's not what I want to talk about now. So we sent this email, right? And it's everything. It's like, we have to go through this process. You have to go through here. And it's like, okay, that's how we got here to begin with. We didn't just pop up in this random spot. We literally are doing exactly what you said. And then they'd be like, well, go to the community and ask the questions. Well, the problem is Google is a monopoly. Google is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. And yet the people who are answering the questions are people who are doing it for free as wikis. And the problem is that you're not getting paid, so there's no accountability. If they tell us the wrong information as people who aren't getting paid, they're just trying to help, there's no accountability. We did what they said. Well, they don't work for us. Why are you listening to them is going to be the response. So they literally set you up for failure. And then when you call the line, when you first called the line, all they want is marketing information. How much are you spending on marketing? How much are you doing this? What's your channel name? What's your website's name? How do we get in touch with you? Give us your phone number. Give us this. Give us that.
Do you want future marketing emails?
And all of it is just a marketing play. It's literally like calling a scammer up.
And then they tell you, I need to connect you to...
I'm just a receptionist.
I need to connect you to the support team.
Yep.
And so they connect you to the support team, and it says, there's nobody that's able to help you.
Yep. Good day.
And it hangs up on you.
Yep. Good day.
And so you call them back, and you're like, hey, the number you connected me to, there's nobody there. And they're like, okay, ma'am, hold, let me connect you. Send you right back to the same thing.
No, they do not. You have to answer all those questions again every time.
All the same
questions. You have
questions.
to answer at least 15 to 20 questions, which takes about 30 minutes to 45 minutes before they'll even talk to you about transferring. Oh, ma'am, you have to answer these questions first. So then we tried to do the online chat. Same thing. They ask you the same questions. They're actually more invasive on the chat that's instant than they are on the phone call. They want more information. They want to know exact number amounts. If you don't give them the exact number amounts, they tell you that you're not participating in the conversation and you're going to have to find another way to get help. And then they just disconnect from you.
It's insane. So we spent weeks trying to figure this out. And
trying to just find somebody to help us, for God's sakes.
And then I tried looking on YouTube. maybe somebody's done this before. Nothing. Tried Googling how to do it. Well, okay, cool. But nobody tells you what the first step is.
Yeah.
And the first step is that you have to have a business account with Google Ads.
AdSense. So even you're messing it up now. You have to have it with AdSense.
Well, you have to have both.
I know, but you have to start with AdSense. That's the thing. You can't start with Google Ads. That's why we couldn't get anywhere supposedly with the helplines. But there is no Google AdSense helpline because that goes to Google Ads.
Mm-hmm.
They all go to the same number. So it's like this insane circular thing that's like, you need to go over there. And then they're like, oh, you need to go over there. And then they're like, you need to go over there. And it's like, how do I, where, what?
And then on the actual YouTube page, it was connected to a personal AdSense. So there was a setting that we could go in and change it, but it said if you change it, you can't make another change until 32 days.
Wow. So
we were apprehensive about if we wanted to do that step because we were like, well, what if we get this wrong?
And one of the reasons we were there was because a few weeks prior, it was set up as a business account, but then they asked for your information to verify it was you. So when you submitted it, they actually changed it on their end to an individual account. So it was originally a business account, which wouldn't have caused us any problems. 2 weeks earlier, they asked for your verification. In doing so, they switched it to an individual account for no reason. And then we couldn't switch it back without closing it and restarting.
It was crazy. It was crazy. So we had to close everything. We had to literally close everything down. And we were like, I don't know how long this is going to take once we get this back up. So we closed everything down. We got the businesses set up. We changed it on YouTube and held our breath because we're like, if this isn't right, we got to wait 32 days.
And again, there's a little more to that. So before we even closed, because we were hesitant to close, I went on our actual lostgirlintomorrowland at Gmail account and opened up an AdSense just to see if we would be able to make it a business. And it's like, okay, you can make it a business. And I stopped.
Yeah, he didn't even go forward.
I didn't even put the EIN number in. I didn't put anything. I just said Lost Girl in Tomorrowland business. It said yes. Now it's like, I need all this information from you. You need to start a campaign. And I was like, nope, I'm done. I just put that aside. And when she put her stuff through on the channel that it was already on, they're like, now 2 exist. And it's like, how do you know 2 exist? Like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't put any information in other than I put Lost Girl Productions LLC.
Yep.
As a business.
Didn't even link it. It wasn't even
link
linked.
Yeah,
because
just,
you gotta link it through the YouTube channel. And we were like, no, let's not.
And if you guys are out there listening and totally confused,
It's
that's
very
how we
confusing.
felt too.
Like, we have been literally laying in bed talking about this, stressing about this, trying to figure out, like, we're like, I don't even know if we're ever going to get this money.
Well, the funny thing is, so we are contractors in another area. We have a consulting firm too, and we get paid. And it was a piece of cake. We gave them the information. We gave them the EIN number. They're like, here's the money.
Yeah,
That's it.
It wasn't hard at all.
And Google is just like, no, you need to go through these 15 steps, and then these 15 steps have to go to these 14 steps, and then these 14 steps need these 15 steps first, but you have to do this first, but you can't do this first because you need to do this. And it's just like,
it's a lot of this.
and then every email was like, do this stuff. And it's like, you mean how we got to you? Every email was literally like, go to this website, put in a question. You mean how we got to you in the first place? That you're not answering with an email saying, go to the place that we already went to ask you the question.
So,
Oh my gosh, dude.
as of today,
It looks
all
like,
of our hard work,
it looks like, yes.
it looks like it is finally
We
completed.
haven't officially gotten a check yet, but it does look like it's working the way it's supposed to. That's all I can say.
Which is good. It's better than it's been. So it's just, it's crazy that creators have to go through this much hassle. And I know why. I know why they put these things here, because they don't want to pay you.
Yep.
They don't want to give you
And
what.
I think we're getting like less than like 1% of what they're actually making.
So, you think about how much of a wheelhouse YouTube actually is and how much money they're actually making.
Yep.
It's kind of crazy. The thing to note too is it depends on what your genre is as well as to what type of ads they play on your video and what type of compensation you would get as well. So like if you're a plumbing channel, your channel's not going to necessarily get the same type of ads as somebody who's a travel vlogger. And
I mean, it depends. Again, I wouldn't make that, but you're right. Different audiences matter, but I don't know about plumbing, so don't just throw out plumbing here.
I'm just saying it's different. I don't know if it's more. It could be more. It could be more. It could be less. But different types of channels make different types of money. And it's interesting. It's a learning process. And I just want to say, again, we're very thankful for the people who have gotten us here, 100%. But it has been a journey to get from point A to point B. And it has been a lot of hard work. We have put in a lot of hard work into this channel, into what we want it to be. We take it very seriously. Like I said before, it's not a hobby for us. Like, we take it seriously. We want to have fun with it, but we also want to make good content. I think that's important to us. And I think what a lot of people don't realize is that there is a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes on a YouTube channel. Yeah, you can go in, you can hit record, and you can throw that video up there. But it takes a lot of work and a lot of dedication to have the follow through, especially if you're not somebody who has a following on another social media channel, to get views, get people to pay attention to you, and to get Google to show your shit.
Well, and then on top of that, it takes so much money to do these trips and do all of these things to actually create content. We have to go places.
It's an investment.
Yeah.
It's been a very big investment in getting the gear. And yeah, you can start off with your phone. 100%. I recommend, if you want to start doing this, pull out your phone. You got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But
Windows Movie Maker. We just watched a vlogger talk about how he's been on Windows Movie Maker this entire time.
So, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of dedication, and there's nobody here telling you how to do it. Nobody.
Well, it's not about telling you. There's no help. Like, it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation that has absolutely no help other than wiki people, which are awesome. Thank you, wiki people, for doing what you do. But you shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
These are billion-dollar companies. They should have
Support.
Extensive supports. Yes. The amount of money that Google makes off of YouTube, and not just our channel, just YouTube in general, is
Right.
billions upon billions upon billions of dollars.
Agreed. And it's been a roller coaster, but I am really excited that hopefully we are over that hump.
Me too.
And it's going to be smooth sailing from here. And we're just going to continue to learn about the different features we've unlocked. And we're going to get to know you guys better and build a bigger community.
Be doing some upgrading next year to our editing software and stuff. We
Yeah.
got some plans for that. Another lens for our camera to really tighten up some of those shots. And
That shit don't come cheap, man. Don't come cheap. But it's worth it. It's worth it in the end.
I'm having a blast. I mean, we're doing things that we never would have done otherwise.
Yeah, it literally. I cannot say that I would have ever wanted to go to the top of the Space Needle in Seattle if I wasn't doing this.
Yeah. We're joining the Mile High Club like we're doing at the end of next month.
I don't think I would ever have ate a scorpion or ate a cricket.
Yep.
I've ate a lot of bugs this year, so because we did the scorpion shot this year, right?
End of last year, I think it was.
Yeah, it's been such an amazing adventure to go on, and
we got one more month of this year too, and I'm excited to see where that brings us.
Yeah, and look forward to next month's podcast. What are we going to talk about next month?
Well, we're going to be rehashing the year, talking about some of the fun stuff that we did, our highlights for the year, and probably looking a little forward to January of next year and kind of what changes around the horizon.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Next year is going to be an even bigger year.
Well, and we'll be talking about joining the Mile High Club. So.
Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I'm excited. We were going to do it this month, but it just, certain things got in the way of
Lady
that.
things, yes.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, we can get awkward here.
Right, we can. Lady things happened, and we want
I
Macy
started
to enjoy
my
it just as
cycle.
much as everybody else does.
Literally. It was like the universe was like, I know it's your anniversary and I know it's your birthday, but here's your period, so you can't get laid.
Yep.
And I was like,
Well, I mean, you can't get laid. We just didn't want to make a mess of the plane.
yeah, it's kind of like
again,
a biohazard.
And we'll talk all about it next month, like details how to do it and stuff. But yes.
So really excited to bring in the new year by going into the Mile High Club. We fly enough.
We'll end the year, actually. We'll be ending the year.
We fly enough.
We do fly enough.
That
yes.
it's about damn time.
Yes, Delta. We're not talking about Delta, just so you know. In case
Yeah,
you're
we're
watching
not
Delta.
we're not doing it on
talking about
Delta.
you. Yeah.
We got a private plane.
Yeah.
So that'll be really exciting. And then I don't know what we're gonna do for New Year's, but we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to spend Christmas and be home and enjoy it with you and everybody else and show you guys what we get into.
Yeah, and if you want to follow us on other social media, we're basically Lost Girl in Tomorrowland across TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, just about everywhere.
Yeah. And
our website.
Again, like we said before, we got t-shirts and we have postcards that we have been collecting.
Yeah, TeePublic. Yeah, you need to join our groups either on YouTube or Patreon so we can mail out some of these postcards. We have probably about 1,000 at this point that we are excited to send fans. So
yeah, and we just want to send you guys a little bit of love from the places that we've been, and and who knows where we're gonna mail them from, because we'll probably pick a random place that we're in that month and we'll mail them out. I think it's kind of fun and exciting to just kind of see where we've been and to send you guys some love because we love you.
So thank you all for tuning into this podcast. Don't forget to check out all of these adventures out at Lost Girl in Tomorrowland at YouTube.
And we'll come and get you guys next month for the next podcast.
Yeah, for our end of the year podcast. We'll see you then.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.